Happy Mother's Day. A big shout out to all those mothers and grandmothers out there, and to all those people who are going to be taking on extra childcare duties in the coming weeks and months. Mother's Day has always been quite poignant, and when taking a Mother's Day service, I've had to think through how we're going to address the issue of people for whom Mother's Day is painful, either because they've lost their mother, or because they've lost their wife, or their child, or they can't have a child. And for all those reasons, it's always been a poignant day, but today more so than most, as we journey into this time where we're supposed to be socially isolating, and perhaps we can't get to see our mother, perhaps we can't get to do what we normally do, perhaps our family won't be coming round for a big Sunday lunch. And for all those reasons, today is a little bit more painful than normal. When I'm preaching, one of the things I want to do is look at the ancient texts that we have and see how that connects with the present. And in today's reading, that you'll find a reference to on the Facebook page, it tells a story from John's Gospel where Jesus is dying on the cross, and in front of him in particular is a group of women, but the focus is often on two people, on Mary, his mother, and on one of his younger disciples, John. And Jesus, as he's hanging on the cross and in that agony, doesn't just get caught up in his own agony, but rather is thinking and loving others. And he does what is effectively a mini adoption ceremony and tells John that Mary is his mother, and Mary that John is her son. Mary may well have been somewhere around about 46 to 50 if she'd been a teenager when she'd had Jesus, and Jesus was 33. But disciples were often a lot younger, often teenagers, and so John may have been fairly fresh-faced. This picture is often portrayed at the front of churches, but I've also put on the Facebook page a picture of the stained glass window at the front of St John's Furnace Vale, and it has a variation on this picture, not with Jesus hanging on the cross and Mary and John gathered at the foot of it, but rather with Jesus, who's risen from the dead, meeting with Mary and John. And it's a message of hope, that out of adversity comes hope. Out of struggle comes a new beginning. Indeed, part of the message of the cross is that somehow it saves. And I think that on that cross, when Jesus is reaching out in love to John and to Mary, that is part of the process of salvation. Jesus, after all, said that God so loved the world that he gave his only son. And equally in the other Gospels talks about how the greatest commandment is to love God and to love one another. And so when we're in these difficult times, when we reach out in love, when we make connections, when we adopt a neighbour as part of the family and go do the shopping for them, when we keep in touch with people who are elderly, all these things are joining in the process of God's love and the process of God's saving in the world. And so though this may be a painful Mother's Day, and you haven't been able to come to church to collect your daffodils, still I hope that this Mother's Day, it's a chance when we can choose again, not to get caught up in the pain, but to journey into love and reaching out and connecting with others. So may God bless you. Amen.